a virtual meeting chaired by Finance Minister, of course, is going to deliberate on what fine prints of EGaming GST levy will be. We are hopefully trying to get an expert voice on what e-gaming companies are hoping to do, planning to do, how they are preparing themselves for the 28% GST levy. But so far, what we know for a fact is that the levy will continue. There is no rethinking about it.
I was just going to say that, and you just pulled the words out of my the only thing I can think of the topic is that be whatever happens in the meeting, it looks very unlikely that that 28% GST on online gaming is going to go away, because it is very clear that when the GST Council is reducing GST from 12% and 15% to 0% on certain product categories, clearly identifying them as not worthy of being taxed, medical supplies and other things. So which means that all of that will have to come from somewhere else. The GST Council will look for other avenues which can be taxed extra. And it's very clear that online gaming is an avenue that the GST Council has clearly identified as that is an area where we can't go wrong if we tax too much. If we can't tax alcohol, if we can't put GST on petrol and diesel, this is definitely worth it, online gaming, and that's the reason
Those are the questions that perhaps Council will have to think, deliberate on for the sake of e-gaming platforms operating in India.
Face value or agree to GST on platform fee. Now here is the deal. The way the GST of 28% is being applied in online gaming, which is on compounded earnings, they say that is the best way of catching the tax requisite on that transaction. They don't even want to change the procedure or the format of calculating the 28% tax. It looks like this is a watertight tax that has been put by GST. There have been so many questions being raised ever since the news came out, and literally from the other end, from the government side, it's been like so. So 28%, stop online gaming. You can do tons of other things with such little tax.
It's interesting.
Why do you have to do online gaming? Online gaming is looked at as a luxury for people who have the time, who have the risk appetite to go do it. And if that's all about risk appetite, then that's got to be taxed as well.
And it's interesting you say risk appetite, because that is what some of the GST Council members are alluding to, speaking to various newspaper and media. They continue to maintain that young people are spending luxuriously on e-gaming platforms and on online gaming, and that is something we'll have to tax appropriately, perhaps provide some sort of blockage, hindrance for young gamers to not spend as much they're spending. And a 28% GST, which is equivalent to the GST levy on sin goods, would be a deterrent for many young gamers.
Two things for young gamers. One is addiction to online gaming, which is now proven. You've seen enough and more reports about how young people can get dangerously addicted to these online games and video games and etc. etc. So there is an online game addiction that we're dealing with over here. And the second is a gambling addiction. You lose some money in these online gaming, or quickly what you want to do is put more money and try to get that money back and more. So we're tackling both gaming addiction and gambling addiction, and that's the reason why.
Especially on online gaming, casinos, horse racing, where you have to pay at face value of 28%, because essentially that's how all the other services are taxed. They are taxed at face value.
Oh, absolutely. That's like a facial. Or a spa treatment. That's why those things are taxed, because they're saying is that that's not an essential. But if you still have the money to do it, might as well pay some tax and go and do it. And look at the online gaming, casinos, horse racing. These three are the things that parents hope that their kids never get close to. Remove online gaming, which is a new age thing. Casinos and horse racing and online gaming being put in the same category as that tells you a lot about the approach to online gaming. It might be fun, it might be easy, it might sound snazzy and cool, but what you're doing is roughly casinos and horse racing.
That is true.
And it's okay if adults were to do it. Maybe, I don't know, if there can be an age cap on it, maybe 25 and above, 30 and above, you don't have to tax, but 18 to 30 you want to tax. I don't know, but looks like for now that 28% tax is there to stay, because as you said correctly, it is being identified as a sin tax, and it's been very difficult for them to change their mindset around saying, oh no, actually this is not a sin.
Right.
This is okay. No, they're not going to do that.
Of course. And another debate would be, how do you differentiate between a game of chance and a game of skill,
Right.
which is what industry is also hoping that there will be a difference. However, the government continues to maintain there is not going to be any difference. Perhaps GST Council today will have to deliberate on that as well. Is there a difference between game of chance and game of skills? And are you also penalizing people who are playing a game of skill?
I just find it funny that people have this argument, because if it is completely something that is illegal, the government would have just gone ahead and banned it. You can ban horse racing, you can ban casinos, and casinos are banned. In Singapore, for example, casinos are banned. Even in Goa, casinos are allowed only on waters, it's not allowed on land.
On the land,
So
yes.
you can just completely ban these things if it's such big a problem. Here's the government saying that, you know what, we're not banning this, you're free to go ahead and do this, it's legally allowed, all you have to do is pay us the tax. It's the same mindset that you have to have when you're going in to get a facial or a massage in a salon. You'll be like, look, it's just a facial. I'm paying my hard-earned money to get a really expensive facial. Why am I supposed to pay 28% more? But that's because, bro, this is not an essential. This is not a necessity in a country of 1.4 billion people. If you can afford it, you've got to be taxed for it. You are an HNI in that scheme of things, affording a 3,000 rupee facial. I think transfer that argument into online gaming. Voila, there you go.
And another, I think, interesting point to look at would be whether there's going to be some amendment to the levy. So far, all indications suggest that 28% stays, but there could be some clarification as to how these levies will be charged, and all of that, of course, is going to be an important an important development debate that all gaming platforms would be looking at. We are given to understand, in fact, that gamers and gaming companies and their management had a meeting late last evening to decide on what the future course of action is going to be. And Council, of course, will be deciding in all of these matters. They will be deciding on different types of games, and obviously so far there's not a difference between a game of chance and a game of skill. So all of that would have to be.
It's a question of what exactly is skill.
And I think if you break it down for our viewers at this point, before we move on, for every 100 rupee that you pay to a gaming platform, a 28% levy essentially means that 28 rupees goes to the government's coffers in terms of GST. So all you are left with is paying the rest of the money, which is approximately 72 rupees. And that is the amount with which you will be playing your game with. So that is a big chunk of money out of the money that you are investing. And I think in all of this, platforms that are not registered in India, they are trying to woo gamers. They're saying, come to us, because we do not have to comply with the law of the land because we're not registered here. And so how will government tackle that? Gamers shifting from Indian platforms to platforms that are not based in India but do allow gamers to play games in India. All of that, of course, Council will have to deliberate.
I'd say that you're actually helping the Council put on further regulations.
Okay.
But they'll turn around and say, oh, there's a loophole over here. So a company can be registered outside the country and they can attract gamers and then they don't have to pay tax.
Of course.
Wow. Let's find a way to block that spillage of tax revenues as well. You're basically helping the GST Council add to, the kind of regulations. I would be suspect.
I mean, they came up with an advertising saying there's no GST that you're going to pay up if you play with our platform, use our platform. So,
well, it's a matter of time, Shweta. I think, the idea is that to tax all online gaming. And these kind of loopholes will eventually be, we really thought TikTok is going to take off in India, right? So, because TikTok was not based out of India. TikTok was doing whatever the hell it feel like. One fine day, no TikTok. So that's the kind of environment that we operate in. All these online companies, crypto companies, the crypto companies almost became illegal in this country. So online gaming are on thin ice. I'm hoping that they get some kind of a mercy from the GST Council. At this stage, that's all they can hope for. But Indian online gaming companies, like you're pointing out, if the online gaming companies registered outside of Indian shores get away in this scheme of things, I don't think Indian online gaming companies are going to let go of that. They will definitely petition the government to make sure it's a level playing field.
All right.